This is David Rovix with a song for today. One songwriter's take on the history of the world, one song at a time. Available wherever you get your podcasts. The age of the robber barons, as the period around the turn of the 20th century is often known because of the extremes in inequality that existed in U.S. society at the time that John D. Rockefeller became the world's first billionaire, was also a period of widespread labor militancy. Red flags were a common sight, as were red union cards with black lettering reading IWW for the industrial workers of the world. Known in Canada as the One Big Union, the IWW was as much a concept as it was an organization. One big union, not divided by race, gender, national origin, or whether workers were skilled or unskilled. While it may never have had more than 1 million dues-paying members at any given time, the Wobblies, as IWW members were and are known, had many millions more supporters. It was a period fraught with possibility, with millions of European refugees flooding into North America in the decades prior to the First World War and forming the backbone of the labor movement of the day. The Wobblies opposed the First World War as a bosses' war, and this was the pretext the bosses used to crack down on the movement on a national scale in the U.S. The U.S. has a national police force, though federalism has always been problematic in the U.S., so we use a euphemism and call it the FBI. The FBI's first big police action began on November 7, 1919. Named after the agency's first director, Michael Palmer, who had recently been mail-bombed by an anarchist, the Palmer raids targeted the entire infrastructure of the radical American labor movement. In a matter of days, IWW halls across the U.S. were burned to the ground. Almost the entire leadership of the union was arrested and sentenced to lengthy prison terms, and thousands of union organizers were deported back to war-ravaged Europe.
I came to this country, left Scotland far behind, evicted from the Highlands, told to go and find a new life in America across the Atlantic Sea, where I joined the millions of other refugees who ended up at Ellis Island as the century began. The wretched of the earth from every foreign land. When I came to this country, broken and bereft, I quickly saw I'd have been no worse off if I'd never left. Such awful deprivations as I'd never had to face, borne by Swedes and Russians, Africans, and every other race. Millions of people trying not to end up dead from cholera or black lung or being clubbed on the head. I came to this country to have something on my fork. It was obvious the first thing was to get out of New York. I learned to hop the freight trains, some other stiffs and I caught a westbound rattler to give Oregon a try. Signed up for the logging camps, became a timber beast. If I'd stayed there any longer, I'd have surely been deceased. When I came to this country, I worked the copper mines in Butte. I was a gandy dancer in Spokane in a gandy dancer suit. I heard the rebel girl speak one night in a railway yard. I joined the union right away and got my first red card. Became a hobo organizer for the One Big Union Grand, preaching the wobbly gospel across this starving land. When I came to this country, I soon enough lost track of the number of times I felt a billy club upon my back, or how many times I saw the tents with freezing kids working in the mines instead of living on the skids. How many times I heard the horrid crying from below of those trapped there in the dungeons with nowhere left to go. When I came to this country, it was a hopeful time of desperation. The red flags flew. all across the nation. But when the war began in Europe, we refused to die and kill. We refused to fight a boss's war and serve the boss's will. That's when they got the Legion to burn down our union halls, all across the land where there used to be 4 walls. When I came to this country, I had no great expectations, but I didn't think I'd end up back here awaiting deportation. On a steamship on the Hudson, I watched the sunset fade, with 20,000 others swept up in the Palmer raids. Counting myself lucky that I'm still alive, remembering the moment that I first arrived. When I came to this country, when I came to this country, when I came to this country, when I came to this country.
This has been a Song for Today from David Rovics, making popular education popular again. If you go to davidrovics.com, you can hear lots of other episodes of this and other podcasts, see where I'm touring next, and get on my email list. You can also click on CSA there on my website and join my community-supported art program, which is mainly how I get by in the free streaming era. I hope to see you sometime soon again here on the internet or on the road and hopefully in the streets.